Good morning, everyone, and thank you again for waiting as we just let a few more people join. We're really glad that you are here for our Give Miami Day 101 webinar, where we are going to be going over all of the basics about Give Miami Day. My name is Roshni Neslage, and I'm the Communications Associate here at the Miami Foundation, and I'm also our team's project manager for the Give Miami Day event. I'm joined here with my colleague Jolicia St. Louis. She's a programs assistant here at the Foundation, and she's going to be fielding your questions today as well as helping you with the registration process. Not joining us right now, but your main point of contact for Give Miami Day is our colleague Alex Rosales. He's a senior programs assistant here at the Miami Foundation, and he is going to be the lead for you to contact, learn more about the event, work with on registration, and he can direct you to the correct staff person to address your questions. So, speaking of which, we will have time for questions later throughout the webinar, but if you do have a question that comes up as you're listening, you can always enter it in on the right-hand portion of your screen. You'll see a box that says questions. Type it in there. Jolicia is making a note of them, and we'll be able to answer them throughout the webinar. In addition, if you have any questions after this webinar, you're always welcome to email us at info@miamifoundation.org. That's monitored daily by several staff members, and we will respond to your questions and requests as quickly as possible. We'll also be recording this webinar and uploading it to givemiamiday.org, and we will probably do that by the beginning of next week, hopefully by Monday. So before we dive into our slideshow here, I just do want to talk about Give Miami Day in general. I know some of you may be new to Give Miami Day yourself, whether your organization, or you could be a new individual to Give Miami Day. You've never experienced it before, but your organization is returning. Or some of you may be returning organizations. You're familiar with Give Miami Day, both you as an individual and your team. Regardless of where you are in terms of expertise, we hope that we can just answer your questions, make sure you're feeling good about the event through this webinar. And also we want you to know that no matter where you fall, we as the Miami Foundation are here and happy to help you. So again, before I dive in, I just want to cover the basics about what Give Miami Day is. So as you may know, Give Miami Day is a 24-hour giving event that we've opened to all nonprofits serving Miami-Dade County. We've created this so that people around the world can celebrate philanthropy and support the nonprofits that they care about. So one note that I just want to make is that participating nonprofits must actively be working in Miami-Dade County. You can find a full list of all of our eligibility requirements on givemiamidade.org. You just need to click rules on the top portion of the screen. And if you do have any questions, if your organization is eligible, or if you're just wondering, if there's specific particulars you want to ask about, again, you can email us at info@miamifoundation.org. At the Miami Foundation, our main motivation for putting on Give Miami Day is to extend our mission to promote philanthropy throughout the community. So we want to give everyone the opportunity to be a philanthropist, which is why we've created this easy giving platform. We know that nonprofits participate because it gives you all a very easy way to raise dollars with additional incentives that we've created, like our bonus dollars, our matches, our prizes, which we'll get to in a bit. And we hope that the cost and effort you can put into an event like this would be less than putting it into something like a gala or a large event. And we've seen that actually the most successful nonprofits often make more through Give Miami Day than they would through an event like that, which is what we hope to see. So to make this a success, we're here for every participating nonprofit, whether we're doing trainings like this, webinars, in-person trainings, office hours, our peer panels, via phone or email. Our goal is that this is a great experience for you and that you, in turn, are glad that you participated. And we just know on a donor perspective, just so you understand that, the donors that are participating are doing so because they want to support nonprofits, they have the incentive. They do that entirely on our website, which we'll get to in a bit. On the website, they can search by name, category, make donations. And on the website, we've also put a live leaderboard so that you can get a full picture of how nonprofits are doing. Each nonprofit on Give Miami Day will have a unique URL that will allow you to access donor information in real time, but again, we will get to that in a bit. So before we talk about Give Miami Day 2018, I just want to do a quick recap on Give Miami Day 2017. As you can see here, we had more than $10.1 million that were raised for 696 nonprofits. And you can see that more than 20,000 donors made almost 32,000 donations. Each year, we do like to highlight the nonprofits who received the most donations. So bear in mind, these aren't the nonprofits that necessarily received the most dollars, but they did receive the highest number of gifts. We've noticed over the years that a lot of nonprofits may get caught up in the dollars they raise, but we also like to celebrate all accomplishments. So if you take a look at the organizations here, for example, Community Arts Program came in with a whopping number of donations. They received 623, by far the most number of donations. But right below them was Children's Movement of Florida. Again, they came in with a huge number of donations, 578, but they made more than Community Arts Program. I'm willing to bet the Community Arts Program is still very satisfied with how they did, considering the number of donors that they were able to engage. So the big takeaway I just want to take from this slide is that you as a nonprofit set goals for yourself that celebrate all of your accomplishments. I say if you can engage new donors this year or engage all your donors in a new way, you've accomplished something great with Give Miami Day. So this year, Give Miami Day is November 15th. We've historically staked our claim on the Thursday before Thanksgiving. Some of you may remember a few years ago, we actually posted that on our website and sent out an email one year that just said, Give Miami Day is the Thursday before Thanksgiving this year and every year. So again, it will follow that pattern this year. And you can go ahead and save the date for next year as well, because that's when Give Miami Day will be. So save the date for the foreseeable future. And one other thing before we get into the depths of registration and participation for Give Miami Day, I just want to make sure that you're all aware of the nonprofit toolkit on our website, givemiamiday.org. Now, chances are if you have been here at the webinar, if you found your way here, either you or a colleague or someone you know have already been to our website and already visited the nonprofit toolkit. But I do want to note that we do update this portion of our website regularly with the new items, so make sure to check back often. All you need to do to get there is go to givemiamiday.org, click on For Nonprofits on the top, and you'll find the following. We've got a registration guidebook there, actually, that's a step-by-step guide on how to complete the registration platform. We've got planning workbooks that I've mentioned here, which also includes a step-by-step timeline. We've got our rules, our FAQs, the dates of our remaining trainings, logos, graphics, videos, including this. We'll have our Give Miami Day video. This webinar will be recorded on there, links to our other webinars. And then we also have a link to our Facebook group, which is called the Give Miami Day Nonprofit Learning Exchange. That's a forum that we've created for you to ask your questions and to help answer other nonprofit organizations' questions. So all you need to do that, click on the link to join. There's a question just that asks what nonprofit you're part of so that one of our staff can approve you, and then you can go ahead and participate. To participate in Give Miami Day, all you need to do is create a profile on Nonprofit Central. So Nonprofit Central is our 365 year-round site that's a community nonprofit database. Our intention behind this site is that donors can browse it and peruse a full list of nonprofits working in the community. So just to participate on Give Miami Day, we ask that you create a profile on Nonprofit Central, and once that's approved, you will be automatically registered for Give Miami Day. Both of these websites, Nonprofit Central and givemiamiday.org, are run by our technology partner, Kimbia. Some of you may know that Kimbia was actually acquired by a company called GiveGab earlier this year, and that's just good to note because you may see their names on some of the materials moving forward. And in November, we do have a website webinar, and we'll actually be joined by representatives from GiveGab for the webinar, and they'll discuss the website in depth, so I'd highly recommend that you join that, and we'll share the date at the end of this webinar. If your nonprofit has participated in Give My Day in the past, we still ask that you update your profile for this year. So as you're going through all the materials, you'll see the term returning user. And if your nonprofit has participated in the past, that's you. You're a returning user. If your nonprofit is new to Give Miami Day this year, you're considered a new user. So for both our returning users and our new users, we have created different guidebooks, different videos, all sorts of different content for that. And so you'll find that all on the nonprofit toolkit. The profiles that we ask you to create for Nonprofit Central are very robust and ask for a lot of different information. People can often find this process intimidating, so I do just want to give you a few tips. First, you only need to complete the required fields in each section. Each of these required fields are marked with an asterisk. And so my suggestion is to take a look at the registration guidebook. In there, we've outlined everything that is a required field. And I would just suggest gathering everything you need beforehand so that when you're actually sitting down and filling out the application, you can expedite that process. After you save the required fields, you can return to the site at any time throughout the year and complete the optional fields to develop your profile and make it more robust. Again, complete fields or complete profiles, must include the information that you see here on your screen. And we've explained that in detail on the registration guidebook. On the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see that the most crucial information is here. This is the information that we want you to review in detail every year, particularly the financial information and the payment information. Of course, I know you'll want to get paid at the end of Give Miami Day, and we want you to get paid too, so this is information that's very, very important. The right-hand side, of course, is also important. It is more qualitative, but please just make sure that it's up to date, that it's current. A quick note, just as you're gathering this information, some of these are uploads that you'll or PDFs that you'll upload, or maybe different types of files, JPEGs. The maximum file size that we allow on Nonprofit Central is 5 megabytes. That's also 5,000 kilobytes if you're looking at files in that size. So before you submit them, just take a moment to review all the attachments to ensure the total combined file size, so everything together, is not more than 25 megabytes. The major upload that people often have questions about is the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Certificate of Solicitation, which is quite a mouthful. So anybody that's a 501c3 organization actually needs this certificate of solicitation to receive donations in the state. So this is something either hopefully you have or that you can easily get, and it's a requirement to participate in Give Miami Day. This ensures you're in compliance with the state's requirements. So if you're wondering if you have it or if you have any questions about the application, call the department. They're actually really used to receiving a lot of calls from Miami-Dade County nonprofits this time of year. That's something that's not unusual. They've got a lot of calls. They're used to Give Miami Day. You need a certificate that's current as of Give Miami Day. And so again, if you have any questions about your particular case, or as you can see here, this is one of our old ones, but if ours tends to expire right before Give Miami Day, you can give us a call and we can walk you through that particular case. Either call us or send us an email. I would also suggest just giving the department at least 4 weeks to process your certificate. They're usually faster than that, but 4 weeks is just a good time frame to be safe, especially closer to the event. They're going to be getting a lot of requests, so get yours in early if possible. And before we break for questions, I do just want to highlight 2 new profile features that we've included this year. The first, on your registration profile. The first is municipality. So in the past, we've asked what program areas you're working in terms of areas in the community, but rather than doing that, we'd like you to indicate what municipality your local office is based in. Our hope with this part is just to use this information to reach out to local leaders on your behalf and engage with you not only on Give Miami Day, but throughout the entire year. So we want our local, either government officials or just other community leaders to know what nonprofits are working directly in their community. If your organization has a local office based in unincorporated Miami-Dade County, that's actually the first option in the drop-down, so please select that. And if your organization's local office is based in another part of the state or country, but is working in Miami-Dade, the last option in that drop-down is Others, so just select that. And please note that municipality is a required field this year. The second opportunity that we've given you, or the second new field that we've given you, is the opportunity to include your mission statement in Spanish. So our intention behind this is actually the beginning of what we're going to make a broader effort to make philanthropy and Give Miami Day accessible to every Miamian. So this is just one step of many to come. Now, your mission statement in Spanish isn't going to be a required field this year, but it is going to be visible on your profile on givemiamiday.org if you fill it out. So I'd highly encourage you just to take this opportunity, either translate it quickly or get it translated and include that in your profile. I think it's a really cool feature that we're excited about including. So right now, I guess we'll hand it off to Julissa. We're going to just take a quick break for questions, and then we'll move on to talking about donations and the bonus pool and other things like that. Julissa, any questions?
Yes, so I have a question from Kristen here, and she asks, do we know how long it usually takes to get the solicitation certificate approved?
Yeah, again, I would say just give them 4 weeks. It takes a lot less than that, but I would say, we know, again, last year we had 700 nonprofits participate in Give Miami Day, and so they may get inundated with a flood of requests, so I think 4 weeks is probably a safe window to get, once you submit everything, to get that back.
Okay, so Terry asks, why do we need to have the mission statement in Spanish?
So it's not necessary. Again, it's not a required field. This is just one step that we're making towards making Give Miami Day accessible to people who exclusively speak Spanish. Our hope is that in the future, we can have our entire website translated. So it's not required, but we just, if that's something you want to take advantage of, especially if you think you may have donors who are exclusively Spanish speaking or whose first language is Spanish, that's an opportunity we want to give you.
So I have a question here from Gussie, and they ask, you only have Spanish, what about Creole? This is also a huge population as well.
For sure, yeah, and we do recognize that. Again, I think moving forward, so as Kindia was acquired by GiveGab, they haven't actually, in the past, had the opportunity to have a translated site. Moving forward, for Give Miami Day 2018 and beyond, we're going to have a lot more options to do things in multiple languages. One of the things that you may have noticed if you've just visited our MiamiFoundation.org site, we have that translated in Spanish and Creole. And so we're hoping to move that forward with Give Miami Day. But this year, we're in a situation where we're just trying to begin to introduce that, but definitely in the future, that's something we're going to include. And Portuguese as well. I think I saw someone mention that as well.
Okay. Thomas has the question that if their Florida Department of Agriculture solicitation certificate expires before Give Miami Day, at November 15th this year, do they have to renew?
Yes. So your Give Miami Day or your certificate must be current as of Give Miami Day. If you have a situation where, let's say, it expires November 14th or even that week or the week before, send us an email and we can walk you through the step-by-step process of what we need from you in order to approve you. I mean, it ends up becoming a case-by-case basis, but we will need, as of Give Miami Day, the current certificate. But we can work with you specifically on that. Okay, so now that we've gone through that, let's just talk quickly about the donation process and the other incentives that we have. So, all donors who are participating in Give Miami Day, so all the people who are giving you money, must make their donations on our website, givemiamiday.org, on November 15th. Now, donations can be made by any major credit card, which I've outlined here on the screen, or via donor-advised funds at the Miami Foundation. For those of you who don't know what donor-advised funds are, We have donors here at the foundation who have created philanthropic funds, which they use for grant-making purposes throughout the year, and they also use that on Give Miami Day. I do want to make a quick note that we at the Miami Foundation run Give Miami Day as a service to the community. So we don't collect any fees from the event. We don't make any money. If gifts are made via credit card, they will be fees from our merchant processor who does the online transactions, and there'll also be fees from the technology partner, Kimbia. Now, our donor advised funds don't have any fees on them at all. So if you have a donor who's planning on making a large gift, I would encourage them just to consider opening a fund at the Miami Foundation. And again, that's because gifts made from those funds don't have fees. There's no minimum to create a donor advised fund at the foundation. So it's really worth considering if you do have a donor who wants to make a large gift to your organization or just a large gift in general on the day of. For credit card donations, all donors making donations via credit card do have the option here of covering the fees. We estimate those at 4.5% of the transaction. So as they're making the donation, there's a little checkbox that they can check off that says, I want to cover the estimated 4.5% credit card fees. That, again, gives them the opportunity that takes off less money than for fees that you may receive. The full donation that a donor makes is tax deductible. Your donor will automatically receive a receipt from us, from info@miamifoundation.org with tax language, so you don't need to provide them with that, but I do encourage you to actually spend time and thank your donors. As I mentioned at the very beginning, you're going to receive a link before the event that will give you access to a spreadsheet that's updated in real time with all of your donor information. So you can thank them either in real time at the end of the day, but you're going to actually have all of their information as long as they don't check off the boxes that they want to be anonymous. As a quick reminder, gifts that you receive on Give Miami Day cannot provide any benefit to the donors. So a donor giving you a gift can't receive items like tickets, gifts. It can't be a membership fee or anything like that for making a donation. And then one other note, if your nonprofit does administer donor advised funds yourself, gifts you receive can't be directed to a donor's account in your charity. Now, if you have specific questions about either of those points I just made, so either donor accounts in your charity or benefits to donors, if there's a particular circumstance that you're trying to navigate, feel free just to send us an email, info@miamifoundation.org, and we can provide insights, advice as needed. At the end of the year, by December 31st, you are going to receive a lump sum of your donations via ACH transfer. These payments will be net of credit card and transaction fees, and they'll also include any additional bonus dollars, match minute, and prize dollars you'll accrue over the course of the day. So again, that will be December 31st that you'll receive them. And I think that's a great transition, actually, to begin talking about the incentives, the first of which is the bonus pool. So the bonus pool is a pool of additional dollars that is fundraised for Give Miami Day by us at the Miami Foundation. We actively work to get sponsorships for the bonus pool, which has become a big incentive for both nonprofits and donors to participate. So how the bonus pool works. Every gift between $25 and $10,000 will be eligible for a bonus gift after the event. The bonus that your nonprofit receives is going to be prorated based on the total bonus pool and the total dollars raised. So what we do is we take the total amount raised for the bonus pool and divide it by the total eligible gifts raised on that day, which is how we determine the bonus percentage. One quick note for you, if you have a donor who's making one gift greater than $10,000, the bonus you receive for that gift will be based on the first $10,000 of the donation. So let's do a 2017 example. We have those numbers already. The bonus percentage last year was 6.28%. So an organization, our hypothetical organization, let's say they raised $5,000 in donations made on Give Miami Day, their bonus gift would be $314. So that's an additional bonus that they get on top of that. One major note I really want to emphasize here is that we're very careful to use the words bonus pool We do not use the words for this pool as a match pool, and I would really encourage you and ask you to do the same. The purpose of this particular pool is to stretch your gifts a little further and not to provide a one-for-one match, and so we want to avoid that level of confusion. But that transitions very nicely to our match minutes. So this is the next donation incentive that we have. This is something that we actually introduced in Give Miami Day 2016. They were a huge hit, so we've kept them and continue to grow the Match Minute program every year. This year, each Match Minute pool is going to have $15,000 in it. So each Match Minute will be a $15,000 pool, and it's a 60-second period where gifts made between $25 and $100 will receive a 100% match. Once the $15,000 pool is exhausted, the matching opportunity will end. So these are very exciting for those of you who have participated or heard of as a donor in the past about Give Miami Day. You'll know there's a lot of excitement around these match minutes. They really help drive donations, so tell your donors about them before the big event. Before Give Miami Day, around the beginning of November, we'll post a full list of match minutes, and we'll make sure if you're a member of our Facebook group, we'll post in the Facebook group once the match minutes are posted on our website. And after the event is when we let donors know that their gifts were matched, but that usually doesn't happen until the next week or so. As I'm sure you can imagine, the match minutes run out very quickly. So even if the donor has a timestamp on their receipt that matches the minute, 1/100th of a second can make a very large difference, which is why we make sure to take the time to notify the donors that their gifts were matched. You, as a nonprofit, will be notified of any match dollars you've received at the end of the year when we send your final disbursement. The statement we send will also include any match dollars that you've received. The final incentive that I want to discuss is the prize pool. So the prize pool is a $25,000 pool of funds that is consisting of prizes between $500 and $1,500. There's a bunch of different prizes we have, but the main ones that we have either focus on the total unique gifts raised during a prize period or the total dollars raised. So an example of a prize that we've had in the past is the lunchtime special prize. So the nonprofit that would win the lunchtime special prize would receive $1,000 for receiving the most unique gifts between noon and 2 p.m. And that's just one example. So again, that's $1,000 to the organization that received the most unique gifts in that time period. So you may be asking, what's a unique gift? A unique gift is a gift from one donor to one organization. So sometimes I think we've had people interpret unique gifts as, oh, this is a gift of $52.53. No, we just mean one donor is giving to one organization during this time period. And so you can't have one donor give you repeat donations of $25 during that time period and have them count. And as you see here, there's one prize for your organization. So if your nonprofit wins a prize, that means you're not eligible to win other prizes. So because of that, we want you to be strategic about this. Once we've posted the prizes, think through the prize periods where your donors either may be the most active or where you think other donors may not be active. Again, along with the match minutes, we're going to post a full list of prizes prior to Give Miami Day. So we'll make sure to post that in the Facebook group. We'll probably send out a few tweets just as these are posted. So go check them out and create your strategy. We're going to break for questions in a bit once I close up, but I do, now that we've talked about donations, the bonus pool, the prize pool, and the match minutes, I want to talk through a quick scenario of a hypothetical nonprofit that happened last year. So this is just so you can understand exactly what the final disbursement would include for this hypothetical nonprofit. So our nonprofit here received $900 in credit card gifts. They actually coincidentally received $100 in a donor advised fund gift from the Miami Foundation. One quick note that you'll see in our rules and FAQs, donors have the opportunity to request refunds up until the next day at 4 p.m. This nonprofit, thankfully, didn't have any donors requesting refunds. So the subtotal of dollars that were raised that day was $1,000. Now, because of this, you can see that every gift here was probably between $25,000 and $10,000. Well, we know that for a fact since this nonprofit raised $1,000. So every gift was eligible for bonus. The bonus gift last year, as I mentioned earlier, was 6.28%. So this nonprofit received $62.80 in bonus dollars. They also won a prize, so they get $1,000 because they won a $1,000 prize. And one of their gifts that they received came in during a match minute, so they got $100 in match minute gifts. So the total gifts that they received were $2,162.80. Here is when we subtract the fees. So here, the gifts that are feed are the $900. So $100, again, because it came from a donor advised fund, are assessed a fee. But the $900 of credit card gifts are. So we're subtracting $34.74. This nonprofit didn't have any donors who chose to cover their fees. So the total that this nonprofit is walking away with is $2,128.06. And that's after they started with $1,000 in gifts. So I'm sure they were this hypothetical nonprofit was pretty happy about it. One note again about the fees. So we estimated at 4.5%, and that's because it's just hard to tell what the fees are going to be until after the event. I do want to note that the Kimbia fee stays solid at 2.99%. The credit card fees depend on what type of credit card we use. Again, I want to emphasize that the Miami Foundation does not take a fee. And in 2016, I do want to note that the credit card fee was 4.06%, and as you can see, last year it was 3.86%. So we've noticed that historically, year over year, as the event has gotten larger, the credit card fee has decreased, which is something that we've been very happy with. Before we break for questions, I do want to take a moment to thank some of our sponsors. First is the Miami-Dade Public Library System. So this is a webinar, obviously, but all of our in-person trainings are happening at the libraries, including our peer learning panel, anything in person that we have. And they've done this for us in kind, so I do want to take a moment to thank them. In addition, I want to make sure to thank our sponsors. So we, as I mentioned earlier, are actively working to acquire sponsors for all of our pools, the bonus pool, the match minute pool, and the prize pool. And so as we're doing this, we have a lot of very generous companies and individuals who have partnered with us to put on Give Miami Day, so I want to make sure to thank them. I would encourage you to thank our sponsors, but also to make sure to thank your donors in creative and ways. And we really, in one of our upcoming trainings, communications trainings, we do make sure to talk about that as well, about creative ways to thank your donors. Speaking of upcoming trainings, I do just want to go over very quickly the upcoming trainings to expect. So our office hours are ongoing. At the beginning of this webinar, I mentioned my colleague Alex Rosales, who's the main point of contact for all nonprofits. He's actually currently in office hours, so he's sitting with nonprofits right now here in our office, going through the registration process. We encourage you to do that. To sign up for office hours, that's on the nonprofit toolkit. You can book a slot of time so that you don't have to come and wait or wonder if you actually get to sit down. So you can book a slot of time on our website. And Jalicia and I will also be available for some of the forthcoming office hours as well. Next are our webinars. So you're currently in our Give Miami Day 101 webinar. We have our communications webinar next Tuesday on September 25th, or 2 Tuesdays from now, pardon me, and our website training on November 5th. And again, that's with Kimbia a la Gift Gab. We also have several in-person trainings we have. So if you want to come, have a training, ask us questions live, you can always do that. This webinar is going to be available live next Tuesday, September 18th. Our communications trainings are September 27th and October 4th. And I want to make a note about those. So the communications webinar is going to be our communications digital media strategies. Immediately following those in person, so we're going to have the same content as the webinar in person on the 27th and October 4th. And then immediately following those, we're going to have workshops where you can actually get hands-on together, work on your campaigns, and we'll be there helping facilitate that. So if you're interested in joining those, but you don't necessarily want to be in person for the training component, you're always welcome to join the webinar and then come to the workshop. We've broken all of those components out on the nonprofit toolkit on givemiamiday.org, so you can pick and choose the menu of what you want to register for. And then finally is our most popular, most well-attended in-person training is our peer learning panel. We like to sit down a few successful nonprofits from years past, ask them their advice, and let them actually talk about what it's like being a nonprofit participating in Give Miami Day. So I'd highly recommend that you come to that one as well. And then just a few important dates for you to know. The registration deadline is October 15th. So we're just about 1 month from tomorrow left to register. From there, you're actually, after you're approved, you still have the flexibility of making edits to your profile, both for Give Miami Day and for Nonprofit Central. That deadline is November 5th. Give Miami Day, as I hope you know by now, is November 15th, and you will receive your gift disbursement by December 31st. Now, I do also want to make sure that you just take a moment to look at the planning workbook, because again, there we have a comprehensive timeline. Jovisi has sat down and given you week by week advice on everything you should be doing on the week leading up to Give Miami Day and then a couple weeks after Give Miami Day. And so that includes additional important dates that are pertinent to you, but that we haven't included in this webinar. So that's all the information that we had to present. So let's break for some questions.
Okay, so the first question I have is from Kristen, and she is asking, does the Miami Foundation send the tax deductible letters to our donors, or is this something that we need to do?
Sure. So in the donations, and I'm just going to jump back to this slide. So you do not need to send any tax language to your donors. You do, or you don't need to, but we highly recommend that you thank your donors. So donors are going to automatically receive the tax language and receipt that we send them, and that's coming from the info@miamifoundation.org email address. If a donor tells you, okay, I didn't receive this, after Give Miami Day, there'll be a field where they can input that and have input their email and have a receipt auto-generated. If they still can't access that, have them give us a call. We can pull that for them very quickly.
Okay, so Melody wants to know, if a nonprofit based in Miami-Dade County, they're based in Miami-Dade County, but they're raising funds and providing services in Haiti, are they eligible?
Send us an email, because this is a specific case and we'll have a lot of questions that we want to talk through with you. So if you can send us an email, we'll talk through that particular case with you. Please email info@miamifoundation.org.
Okay, Andrea asks, can you explain how the unique gift prize works again?
Sure. So let me go to the prize pool slide. Okay. So the example that I talked about here, I believe, was the lunchtime special prize, which happened between noon and 2 p.m. And so what this prize was that the nonprofit that received the most unique gifts received the prize. So what a unique gift is one donor makes a donation to one nonprofit. And so the reason that we specify this way is because otherwise we can imagine that some individuals might try to make repeat gifts to nonprofits throughout that time period to bump their number up. So our technology allows us to determine this donation is coming from one donor, and so this and going to one nonprofit, therefore it's a unique gift. So as a nonprofit, if you received 50 gifts, but 40 of them came from the same donor, you would have actually only received 11 unique gifts. So we're looking for the nonprofit that receives the most donations from the most number of donors during that time period, if that makes sense. I feel like that might have made that more confusing, but hopefully that makes sense to you.
Okay. Tina asks, what happens if you do not receive the agricultural certificate of solicitation by October 15th?
So again, if you think you may not, please just talk to us. Hopefully you do. But if you have either the receipt for it or you think it might come on November 16th or anything like that, just talk to us. We just need it to be current as of November 15th. So that's why we're also want to tell you that now, so you can go ahead and begin the application process or begin the renewal process as you need to.
Okay, Graydon, sorry. Do you suggest thanking donors 24 to 48 hours after Give Miami Day, and will the Excel show match gifts, or we have to wait until the payment in December?
Sure. So that was a couple questions. So let me address the thanking first. First of all, I would suggest that you come to our communications workshop, which let me slide over here, because we talk about in depth about thanking donors. Personally, I suggest thanking them as soon as you know who they are. I would say the nonprofits that have made the greatest impact to me as I've donated are the ones that have called me either on the day of or sent me a note or sent me an email. However they've contacted me, thanking me for that donation. That's a personal preference, but I would say try to thank them quickly so that they know the impact of their gift. I've also really appreciated getting notes from nonprofits afterwards in the mail. I believe the second question, can you remind me what it was about in that?
Okay,
like the match minutes,
will
right?
The Excel show match minutes, or do we have to wait until the payment in December?
Sure. So you're going to have to wait until December to know whether or not you received matched dollars. Now, that being said, the next week or so, let me flip to this side, we try to let the donors know within a week or so that their donation was matched. And again, that's because it can go very quickly. I believe last year, one of our match minutes went in a matter of 20 seconds. So just because a nonprofit's donation says it came in, let's say the match minute is 305, and the nonprofit's donation came in at 305, that doesn't necessarily, on your spreadsheet, that doesn't necessarily mean it was matched. After we have sent the donors that information, if you have questions about a specific donation, we can certainly help answer those questions, but you'll receive all of the details about what was matched by December 31st. And our hope is to get that out much sooner than December 31st, but as you can see, there's a lot of things that we have to aggregate and a lot of math that we have to do in-house before we can actually disperse those payments, because that's why we give ourselves the deadline of December 31st.
Lewis has a question. I'm trying to get exactly how he's asking. How do I get people to donate more to us for prizes at specific times?
Sure. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can do that. We have different communications and marketing strategies that we love to suggest. So I don't want to keep plugging the comms workshop, but I would suggest that's a great place to start. Another way that we've seen people really do this successfully is via pledge cards. So people can't make gifts in advance on our website, but we've had a lot of nonprofits that have put together pledge cards that include all the information on the donation form, and then the nonprofit themselves will sit and process those gifts. The main thing with the pledge cards is that we just ask that you let the donors know, or that the donors agree to having their gifts processed on our website on November 15th. If you do want examples of pledge cards, we can certainly email them to you. We have some great examples that past nonprofits have lent us, so please feel free to send us an email, info@miamifoundation.org, and we can just send those to you as attachments.
Audrey asks, I do not understand the match minute time period.
Sure. Okay. So there's going to be several match minutes, each of 50 seconds or each of 60 seconds. We just haven't released those yet. We're still in the process of finalizing a few sponsorships for them. So each match minute itself is $15,000, $15,000. And each match minute has a maximum period of 60 seconds. So we have 60 seconds to match $15,000 worth of donations. Again, as I said earlier, I actually don't recall that we've ever not exhausted that very quickly, but it happens within 60 seconds. We only give a 100% match for gifts between $25 and $100. So it's the same concept as the bonus pool. If someone gives you a $150 gift during a match minute, we'll give you $100 as a 100% match, if that makes sense. And then once we're out of those $15,000, the matching opportunity will end. One note I want to make is even if your gift is matched 1-for-1 during a match minute, you will also be eligible for a bonus gift on that gift. So in reality, you're going to be making like 106% on that, hopefully.
Okay. Phyllis is asking, sorry, I forgot my login password from last year. How do I retrieve my password, email, etc.?
Sure. So if you have any issues with logging in and you can't access your profile, we know we've had a few people who have gotten this really weird message as they've been logging in and they haven't been able to access a profile that they know exists. Anything related to logging in or passwords, email us. We can very easily send you an updated password reset link. You can also click forgot your password, but if you don't get that, just let us know and we will happily generate that for you. We can do that very quickly. And I do want to know, I keep talking about the info@miamifoundation.org email address. We do have several staff members monitoring that on a daily basis. And actually, now that we're in Give Miami Day season, monitoring that throughout the day. So we 100% will respond to your email as you email us there.
Okay, Tyler wants to know, I don't see my profile with the changes I made. When I be able to see those changes on Nonprofit Central?
Sure. So we publish our changes once a week. So how the website works is we can make a lot of edits to the website and then publish them in mass. So once a week, we make all of those updates live. Our next publish is actually this evening. So if you made changes earlier this week and your profile was approved, you'll get to see those beginning hopefully later tonight or tomorrow. It takes a while for the publish to actually take effect. That being said, your profile has to be approved in order for that to show up. So if your profile is complete, but we've either not approved it yet or we asked you for additional content, they won't show up. And we do make sure to approve these on a rolling basis. So again, we're going through and approving them every day, generally in the order that they came in.
Okay, so Tammy wants to know, how comprehensive does my current year budget have to be?
So we want to make sure that your current year budget shows revenue and expenses at a minimum. And it has to be as of your fiscal year, as of the date of upload. So some people, their fiscal year is January to December, some is July to July, September to September. Whatever date you're uploading it now, you're in a fiscal year, and so that's the budget we want to see.
Jessica wants to know, if my file is not uploading, and I've tried several times, what can I do to resolve this?
We want you to send us an email, right, Jalicia? Yep. So yeah, just email us, info@miamifoundation.org. We can try to upload it on your behalf. Usually it's our solution.
I have a question from Adrian that says, are there any exceptions to the Florida Department of Agriculture certificate solicitations? Like, are there any exceptions for organizations?
Sure. I believe religious entities like churches and PTAs, right, and educational institutions. So if you want to see if you fall under that exception, the first place that I would check would be our rules and the FAQ, where we outline the eligibility. If you're still not clear, shoot us an email again, because this is a case-by-case basis situation. We generally will ask you to upload another document instead of your Department of Agriculture certificate solicitation. Usually it's a letter that we ask you to upload, so we can work with you on that.
Okay, and the last one is, what if I am not a 501c3 organization, but I'm fiscally sponsored by a 501c3 organization, foundation, institution, etc.?
So to participate in Give Miami Day, you have to be fiscally sponsored by us. We do have a couple other nonprofits who we work with, but those nonprofits know whether or not they're eligible. So those are our rules. Any other questions? No? Okay, great. Well, thank you all for joining us for this webinar. Again, if there are questions that come up, things you want to know, we are here for you. We do, oh, I think we do have one more.
Audrey just asked, are you able to share any examples of past Give Miami Day campaigns done by other nonprofits?
Absolutely. So that is the basis of the bulk of our content for the Give Miami Day communications, webinars and in-person trainings. What I would suggest, if you want to look at things now, you can always view our past webinars on our YouTube channel. To access our YouTube channel, just go to miamifoundation.org, scroll to the bottom, and there's an icon that links there to that. Otherwise, we would love to have you join us for our communications workshops, and that also will give you the opportunity to work on your own. So it's kind of twofold. You're going to get to see great examples of past campaigns, and then you're also going to get to work with other nonprofits to help develop yours. So that's what we're hoping to provide during that training. Okay, thank you all for spending time with us. We really enjoyed talking to you. Again, any questions, anything you need, we are here, happy to help you. We do want to support you, and thank you for participating in Give Miami Day. Have a great day, everyone.